Hey y'all, this is Deep Track Zach back. I'm making a new video, but it's continuing my series that I started last week of lesser known artists and albums. I think I've got 5 or 6 more today. I'm just going to go alphabetical. The first one, this is a pretty well-known group just because of their one hit, which was One Toke Over the Line, and it's Brewer and Shipley. This is actually from 1969. This was before their big hit, One Toke Over the Line. This is called Weeds, and it's a really good blend of folk rock, country rock. Kind of hard to describe, but some of the real good songs are Rise Up, Easy Rider, which I think was inspired by the film Easy Rider, which is the same year, I think, 1969. Indian Summer, they do a real good cover of not Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower. I think Hendrix did it first, but People Love Each Other, Oh Sweet Lady. And probably my favorite song on here is a medley called Too Soon Tomorrow, Wichita Toe. It's a great song. It's folk rock with some Native American themes and influences. And what makes this really neat, this record, Mike Bloomfield plays on it, who was in the Butterfield Blues Band. The leaders of the band are Michael Brewer and Tom Shipley. Let's see. Red Rhodes plays steel guitar. He went on to play with Michael Nesmith on his country rock albums. And yeah, I really like this record. I was thinking Jerry Garcia played on this one, but it might be the next one. Let's see. Yeah, I was going to show it anyway. The next one's from 1971. This is Tarkio, which has the big hit, One Toke Over the Line. Mike Brewer, Tom Shipley, John Kahn, Jerry Garcia, pedal steel guitar. He plays steel guitar on a couple of songs. 50 States of Freedom, I think. Song from Platte River. Ruby on the Morning, that's a great one. Don't Want to Die in Georgia starts off side 2. Can't Go Home, Tarkio Road. That's about their home in the Midwest. Seems Like a Long Time, and 50 States of Freedom is the last song. That's got a lineup of Mike Brewer, Tom Shipley, Mark Naftalin, piano and organ, John Kahn on bass, and some other well-known studio musicians. But yeah, Jerry Garcia's pedal steel guitar is really what makes this one special. And it's great music. All right, my next artist. This is somebody that's also well known for being one of the lead vocalists and the lead songwriter of the early Byrds 2 or 3 albums. That's Gene Clark. Just don't hear him mentioned much on the VC, his solo stuff. This is one of his first solo albums, Roadmaster. And he actually plays with some people that were later went on to be in the Byrds. And also Chris Hillman, who was with him at the first incarnation. But Clarence White plays electric guitar on this. Chris Etheridge, bass, which he was later on went into to be on the Flying Burrito Brothers. Sneaky Pete Kleinau, steel guitar, Flying Burrito Brothers. Michael Clark, he was the original drummer for the Byrds. Spooner Oldham, the great session musician out of Muscle Shoals, he plays keyboards. Byron Berline, fiddle. Herb Peterson, acoustic guitar and harmony vocals, he was in the Dillards. Chris Hillman, an original Byrd, bass guitar, harmony vocals. Roger McGuinn plays electric guitar on a couple of songs. David Crosby, electric guitar, harmony vocals. Bernie Leadon, who was in the original Eagles. He plays electric guitar and vocals. Rick Roberts plays acoustic guitar and harmony vocals. He went on to be in the later Flying Burrito Brothers and Firefall country rock band. But yeah, Gene Clark, if you don't know, he was in the Byrds, and when they started getting real big and doing world tours, he was afraid of flying, so he called it quits with the Byrds and decided to do a solo thing and travel the U.S. by automobile or train or bus. Let's see, that's the earliest one I have on vinyl. The next one, he got together with another Dillard, Doug Dillard. And this is early country rock album right here. It's Gene Clark and Doug Dillard, Dillard and Clark. I think it's from 1967. Got a really cool cover with a motorcycle and a sidecar. But yeah, Doug Dillard got together with him on this one, and also Bernie Leadon again, and Chris Hillman. But it's got some great country rock songs like "She Dark the Sun," "Don't Come Rollin'," "Train Leaves Here This Morning." I think the Eagles did that one on their debut album, redid it. "With Care from Someone," the radio song. That's one of my favorite ones on here. "Get It On, Brother." That was written by Lester Flatt. "Something's Wrong." That was written by Dillard and Clark. That's the last track. This is a reissue. Originals cost quite a bit. There's the back cover. So 1968 there, another. And here's another Dillard and Clark, 1969. They only made 2 LPs. This is the last one. It's not quite as strong as Fantastic Expedition, their debut, but it's still got some good songs on it. "Through the Morning, Through the Night," the title track, that was written by Gene. Cover of "Rocky Top." "Kansas City Southern," that's a good train song, written by Gene Clark. "Polly." Polly is actually, there's a great cover of that on the Robert Plant, Alison Krauss album from 10 or 15 years ago called "Raising Sand." It's got a cover of "Rolling My Sweet Baby's Arms." And the last track is a cover of the Beatles' "Don't Let Me Down." They do a great job on it. It's got some good steel guitar by Sneaky Pete again. And Chris Hillman and Bernie Leadon also guest on this album. And Byron Berline again on fiddle. All right, the next Gene Clark in my collection is his 1971 album, "White Light." This is more folk rock. It's not as country as the early stuff he did, but it's still a magnificent album. My favorite songs on here are "With Tomorrow." That's a great acoustic song. "White Light," the title track. "One in 100." I think these were all written by Gene Clark, pretty much. "Spanish Guitar" is another great song with him on acoustic guitar. "Where My Love Lies Asleep." And he does a cover of "Tears of Rage," the Bob Dylan, Richard Manuel song. So, yeah, let's see who some of the players on here are. Chris Etheridge again on bass. Gene Clark, acoustic guitar, harmonic, and lead vocals. And it was mixed by Jesse Ed Davis, the great guitar player, Native American guitar player. Mike Utley on organ, another legendary session musician. Oh, and Jesse Ed Davis plays electric guitar also. But yeah, this is a great one to get if you want to get into Gene Clark. 1971, "White Light." All right, the next one. At the time, this was a commercial failure for Gene Clark. It was a really experimental album. And that would be "No Other" from 1974. Like so many other records, it was a failure at the time, but it has become a cult classic, been reissued a couple of times since. This one even gets farther away from folk rock and country rock. It's almost kind of, there's some orchestration. It's really progressive for the time. There's some beautiful songs on it. Like Life's Greatest Fool, Silver Raven, another one where he really shines on acoustic guitar. No Other, the title track, Strength of Strings, From a Silver File, Some Misunderstanding, The True One, and Lady of the North. I mean, it only has 8 tracks, but there's some long ones on here, and this is a absolutely wonderful album that's used to be overlooked. I think it's gaining status now. All right, the next Gene Clark is 1977's Two Sides to Every Story. This one's a little weaker than all the other ones I've shown, but still, there's some great songs. He does a cover of Leadbelly's In the Pines. That actually, Nirvana's cover is probably the most popular, but he does a good one too. Redoes his older song Kansas City Southern on here. Give My Love to Marie. Sister Moon, Hear the Wind. I love that tune. And Silent Crusade is the last track. I skipped a couple, but those are the highlights. Yeah, that's got a cool cover. That's from 1977. And pretty cool back cover too. He's letting all the hair grow out there. But yeah, that's my last Gene Clark that I have on vinyl. I have a lot more on CD. My next artist is Don Covay. This is from, should have done my research, 69 or 70. Don Covay was a Southern soul singer who I think started in the early 60s. Put out a lot of singles and a couple of albums. But on this one, he went in a blues direction. It's called The House of Blue Lights. It's The House of Blue Lights by Don Covay and the Jefferson Lemon Blues Band. This one was kind of hard to find. I looked probably for 10 years before I found it at an antique store over in Snellville, Georgia. But yeah, this is actually more of a psychedelic blues. He took some stuff from the popularity of psychedelic music, blended his soul background and blues, and came up with a gem of an album. It's got a cover of Big Bill Broonzy's Key to the Highway, Mad Dog Blues. It's a great tune. The Blues Don't Knock. That's kind of a jazzy blues number. That's one of my favorites on here. Blues Ain't Nothing But a Good Woman on Your Mind. And The House of Blue Lights. There's actually side 1 finishes with part 1, and side 2 finishes with The House of Blue Lights part 2. So that's kind of a rare album, but seek it out if you can, if you like that kind of music. There's the back. There's Don Covay. The Jefferson Lemon Blues Band, I think, is some lesser known people. Don Covay, of course, is on lead vocals and guitar. Joe Groundhog Richardson, lead guitar. Margaret Williams, guitar. Well, here's John Hammond. He does harmonica and rhythm guitar. Butch Valentine, bass, and Danny Jones on the drums. All right, let's see. My next lesser-known artist is somebody that, when I discovered him about 20 years ago, that was another life changer and made me seek out more by him and do some research on him. But this is actually Martin and Neil, the artist I'm talking about. Not taking anything away from Vince Martin, but Fred Neil. This is from 1964. And both of these guys were from Florida. and they traveled up to New York City to get into the folk scene. And Vince Martin, he's good. He's got some later albums. They're really good, but Fred Neil really stands out on this. This album's got old blues song, I Know You Rider, Red Flowers, Tear Down the Walls, the title track, which was actually written by Fred Neil. Let's see, Baby, that's an awesome song. Morning Dew, which is a cover of Bonnie Dobson's classic folk song. I'm a Drifter. Line and Track, that's a song written by Fred Neil about laying railroad tracks back in the railroad days. Wild Child in a World of Trouble, another Fred Neil original. Dade County Jail, that's written by Fred Neil about a jail down in Florida. I Got Him, that's a really cool song about a man with a fruit and vegetable stand. He's singing, calling people coming to buy his stuff. And the last track's Lonesome Valley. Some interesting guest musicians on here are Felix Paparaldi. He's on guitar. He went on to be in Mountain. And John Sebastian plays harmonica. He went on to be in, what's the name of his band? I can't think of the name of John Sebastian's big band. Summer in the City is the big hit. Oh well, I'll put it down in the comments when I can think of it. But the next Fred Neil, this is where he really broke out. 1965's Bleecker and McDougal, named after the famous intersection in New York City where the folk scene was going on. There's Fred. Yeah, Fred Neil was really influential to a lot of musicians that came a little bit later, like David Crosby, I think, said Fred Neil was his favorite musician at the time and his biggest inspiration. This album, if I could, out of 10, it's a 10 out of 10. If I could give it 11 or 12, I would. But the lead-off track is Bleecker and McDougal, the title track. Blues on the Ceiling. These were all written, all the ones I'm naming, by Fred Neil. Sweet Mama, Little Bit of Rain. Linda Ronstadt later did a lovely version of that. Country Boy. Other Side of This Life, which has been covered lots of times. Mississippi Train. Traveling Shoes. The Water is Wide. That's an old traditional song. Yonder Comes the Blues. Candyman. Handful of Gimme. Gone Again. Just absolutely incredible album that I don't hear mentioned much. But he wrote every song except for Yonder Comes the Blues on this. This is an original. It's been repressed a couple of times. But yeah, it's on Elektra in 1965. Essential folk rock. All right, the next one is 1966, Fred Neil's self-titled album. This had some really influential songs on it also, like The Dolphins. That's been covered a lot. It's about saving the dolphins. I've Got a Secret. That's actually a cover of a song, Didn't We Shake Sugaree by Elizabeth Cotton, the old folk singer out of North Carolina. That's the Bag I'm In. Body Da, Fare Thee Well. And the big one off of this, which later became big from the movie Midnight Cowboy, Everybody's Talking. Fred Neil actually wrote that song, but Nielsen actually got the one put on the movie Midnight Cowboy, but Fred Neil wrote it. Harry Nilsson. I couldn't think of his name. But yeah, Harry Nilsson did a cover of it a couple of years later, and it was a huge hit from that soundtrack. But I think Fred Neil's original is better. It's got Everything Happens, Sweet Cocaine. That's another old cover. Green Rocky Road. And then kind of a psychedelic folk song at the end called Cy, Nick, Russ, Pete, Fred, John, Raga, which is named after all the musicians. Nick Vinay, Fred Neil, Al Wilson, Cyrus Faryar, and Rusty Faryar. But another essential Fred Neil album. And my last Fred Neil is a album that came out later in his career. It's from Sessions from 1967. It wasn't really compiled as an official album. It came out later on. It's some sessions he did in 67 after that 1966 self-titled album. There's a few strong tracks on here, like Send Me Somebody to Love, Look Over Yonder, Looks Like Rain, and Roll On Rosie. That's an 8-minute and 20-second folk rock jam. Yeah. Another really good one. All right, my next sort of overlooked artist is Billy Joe Shaver. This is his debut from 1973. Old Five and Dimers like me. One of my favorite things about the cover is the notice, "Do not stand in doorway." And this old outlaw is defying that order. But if you don't know, Billy Joe Shaver was a songwriter in Nashville who was kind of getting overlooked for a while, and he bugged Waylon Jennings so much, like outside the studio, and I think they eventually let him in the studio. He wanted Waylon Jennings to record a bunch of his songs, which Waylon eventually did. I can't think of the name of the album right now. It's from 1972. But Waylon did an album of pretty much all Billy Joe Shaver songs. But this is Billy Joe's debut from 1973. It was produced by Chris Christopherson on Christopherson, his label. Actually, he didn't own the label, but it was his recording label, Monument Records. Pretty much every song on this one's good too. This is a 10 out of 10. Pioneering outlaw country album. Black Rose, Old Five and Dimers Like Me, LA Turnaround, Jesus Christ, What a Man. I've Been to Georgia on a Fast Train. That's his original version of that. He later did it in the early 90s with his son in their band Shaver. This is the original. Willie the Wandering Gypsy and Me, Low Down Freedom, Jesus Was Our Savior and Cotton Was Our King. It's about cotton in the South back in the day. Serious Souls, and the last track is Bottom Dollar. There's also some really good Nashville session musicians on this, like Mike Utley, Kenny Malone, Jerry Shook, Red Lane. And it was recorded at the House of Cash in Nashville. Tom T. Hall does the liner notes. But there it is. There's the back cover. And I have some other Billy Joe Shavers too. This one is from 1976 on Capricorn Records out of Macon, Georgia. It's called When I Get My Wings. It's a pretty good, strong album. Texas Up Here, Tennessee, Lord Knows I Tried, Ride Me Down Easy, When I Get My Wings. That's a good track. Ain't No God in Mexico. I think that's been covered by some other people too. Yeah, not as strong as his debut, but can't go wrong with it. That's from 76. Here's another one from the early 80s. He actually had a country hit with this. I'm just an old chunk of coal, but I'm going to be a diamond someday. This is from 1981. He started to go a little more mainstream country, but still kept that outlaw appeal. There's the back of that. And let's see, the last Billy Joe Shaver I have to show. This is self-titled. This one's from 1982. Yeah, really cool cover. Still got the shrink on that one, which I don't usually do, but it's got the hype sticker, so I left it. It's got Amtrak and Ain't Coming Back. Bottom dollar. He does a remake of old Five and Nimers Like Me on this. Oklahoma Wind. Does another remake, Ride Me Down Easy. Low Down Freedom. That's a good song. And another remake of I've Been to Georgia on a Fast Train. Not much original new material on this one from 82, but he was gaining some more popularity, so he redid some of his classics on it, I guess. There he is, decked out in his cowboy gear. All right. This one was an artist I discovered 5 or 6 years ago, and I discovered it by my love of Townes Van Zandt, and then digging deeper into the Poppy Records. And this man was on Poppy Records, Chris Smither. My brother talked about this, I believe, on a video he did earlier this year. Next Play Records, Andy. But he bought it. I had an extra copy of this. He bought it from me. We actually went to Noble Records on a trip a couple of months ago, and we gave one to Dylan at Noble Records also. He was very thankful, and we really loved his record shop. But this is Chris Smither's debut. It's called Don't It Drag On. And I think it was recorded in 1971. Might have been released in 72. Like I said, it's on Poppy Records. And it's got a lot of strong songs on it. An original he wrote called Lonesome Georgia Brown. He's really good at doing Bob Dylan covers. He covers Down in the Flood. I've Got Mine. He does the old Blind Willie McTell song, Statesboro Blues, which the Allman Brothers are famous for their live version of that. Does a Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Rolling Stone song, No Expectations. Really does that good too. And Friend of the Devil, Grateful Dead's tune. But he puts his own spin on it, his own like quirky, folky spin. The title track, Don't It Drag On, Every Mother's Son, beautiful song. Mail Order Mystics, and the last track is I Feel the Same. Right. There's the cover, kind of a far out theme to it here. And this is supposed to represent man in different forms. That says man is animal, figure 1. Man is spirit, figure 2. Man is energy, spirit, figure 3. And figure 4, man is God. So, yeah, had some deep stuff going on in that one. Let me just show you that pretty poppy label. That's Chris Smither, his debut, Don't It Drag On, from 1972. And the only other Smither I have is the follow-up to that. This is 72 or 73, it doesn't say, but I'm a Stranger Too. I think he does another Bob Dylan song on this. Let me see. No, not Bob Dylan, but he does do Neil Young's a great version of I Am a Child, which Neil Young did with Buffalo Springfield. A Short While Ago is the first track. Have You Seen My Baby? That's a Randy Newman song. Devil Got Your Man. It's an old blues cover. Love You Like a Man. Look Down the Road. Old Kentucky Home. And the last track is a really good one. Time to Go Home. So yeah, that's my last Chris Smither. He also has some great records from the 90s. I've got one of them on CD where he does a couple of more wonderful Bob Dylan cover tunes. Visions of Johanna. If you can find that, look it up. Chris Smither, wonderful, overlooked country folk artist from Nashville. And the last thing I'm going to show is in honor of the late, great Toots. Frederick Toots Hibbert just died several days ago. This is the first album I got from his band, Toots and the Maytals. It's kind of a compilation that was released in the U.S. of his early 70s stuff. Every song is good. If you like reggae or you want to get into reggae, it's a great place to start. And he's kind of overlooked because of the, Bob Marley, who everybody thinks of first when they think of reggae. But I actually like this better than Bob Marley's music. Marley comes in a close second, but it's got the song Time Tough, In the Dark, Funky Kingston, title track, wonderful song. Love Is Gonna Let Me Down, cover of the old garage rock song Louie Louie. And actually, I made a slideshow not too long ago of Louie Louie. And he also does a cover of Country Road, Take Me Home Country Roads, the great John Denver song. It's my favorite cover I've ever heard of that song. Great. Pomp and Pride, Got to Be There, Pressure Drop, and the last song is Sail On, which is a real fitting song to end it off with. But what's also crazy is 2 or 3 days before he died last week, I ordered 2 of his records because I heard some songs off of that and I wanted to seek out some more stuff. But I ordered these, like I said, 2 or 3 days before he died, and they're probably not available now, or if they are, the price has gone up. But that would be this one, In the Dark. This was recorded in 1974, and this is a reissue of it. It's actually got some songs that were later put on this Funky Kingston compilation. Got to Be There, Time Tough, Take Me Home Country Roads. But it's got some real good ones too, like Got to Be There, In the Dark, title track, Having a Party, that's a good one. Take a Look in the Mirror, I See You, Fever, Love Gonna Walk Out on Me. And another big song of his, 5446 Was My Number. That's about being incarcerated. And it ends with Sailing On. And this is the last one I'm going to show today. The other one from Toots and the Maytals, it's called From the Roots. This is a reissue from the label Music on Vinyl. I don't know much about this record. I actually listened to the first side earlier today. That's what I was playing before I did this video. It was really good. Not as strong as the first 2 I showed, but I need to listen to this. It sounded really good. Most of Music on Vinyl's reissues do. And this one is a orange colored vinyl. Looks like a really good quality pressing. Well, that's going to be it for my second part of the Overlooked Artists and Albums. I'll probably do a third part sometime in the next week or 2. So thanks for checking in and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.